Okay, so what exactly is a footprint? I've mentioned this many times in this course. Now, put simply, a footprint is any factor that remains common across your PBN site network that can be seen publicly and that can be identified and processed by Google or any other algorithm. So basically, that what I'm trying to say here is anything like, for example, it could be a DNS setting, it could be an IP address, it could be some content that's the About Us page content. It's a pattern. It's the same pattern across all your PBN sites, and that's a footprint. Now it becomes even more critical when the size of your PBN increases, when your network increases. Like if you have 5 or 10 sites all with the same About Us page, or all on the probably having the same sort of contact us form or some plugins or some WordPress plugins, then it should be okay. But again, if they're all on the same IP address and pointing to the same money site from the same, that's a more critical footprint. So excuse me. So footprints have severity. Each of the footprints have a severity, and that severity is basically factored across the number of PBN sites that are in your network. So some of these severities are high even for just like 2 sites on a network. Like, don't put them on the same IP address, right? So that's very critical. And then you could have other things like the plugins, or using a plugin like Spider Spanker, or any other redirection plugin, or any other content on your site. Some of the severity only increases as your PBN network grows and the size of your PBN network increases. So these footprints could be a non-page factor. It could be a plugin, like I mentioned. There could be some DNS settings. It could be some IP settings. It could be some text on your page. It could be something that's inside the hosting account that you use that is exposed and is visible publicly, like the SOA settings. It could be some other backlink pattern, like some backlinks going to your PBNs, or the links or the OBLs you're building on your money sites. So now basically, if you leave a footprint, chances are the algorithm will swoop down on all your PBNs eventually. Yeah. So that's what we're working against. We don't want that to happen. We don't want Google to recognize that all the PBN sites belong to one entity. And again, like I said before, every footprint has some sort of severity meter attached to it. And there are high risk footprints, and there are low risk footprints. So I keep talking about this. The high risk footprints like IP addresses, hosting accounts, being around other toxic sites. Now, the more severe your footprint, or the more number of footprints you have, the more danger your PBN faces to be deindexed. So by this, I'm trying to say is if you have say some low severity footprints, and if you have just 1 or 2 of them, you'll probably get by. But if you have a large number of them, like if you then you're going to trigger the threshold, right? Because they're going to be like maybe 30 footprints of low severity that exist on your entire PBN network. So that could be dangerous, as opposed to just having like 3 or 4 of them. So that's what I'm trying to say here, is that the factor changes, the severity changes of each of the footprints, and then the size of your PBN network, and then the severity of each of the footprints. That's also important. And in the resources section, I will attach a complete list where I will go through all these, and it's like a checklist. So you can just keep that with you when you're setting up your PBN sites to make sure you don't make the mistakes. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.